Welcome to Let's Just Go. This is Kevin Casey's Modern Missionary Podcast, where we discuss wins, betrayals, humanity, families, ministry, and barbecue that we ran into while living together, raising nine, and running a mission for decades together.
Woo! That was cool.
That was our intro.
That was our intro.
The oceanographers
And a song.
called You Got This.
Yep, you got this. Which is new.
Hmm. Today, our topic, which is chosen, is the early shapes of Hawaii ministry.
hmm Yep, but first, we should
Podcast
do some
updates.
podcast updates.
And that's one
Yep.
is that we went through some songs and all of a sudden popped in my head. I was like, what about You Got This by the
Mm,
Oceanographers?
yeah, yeah, and I love it. It's really good. I love the words to the song. And also, I think it's cool because we have a special connection to
Them.
the
Hmm. What do you like
oceanographers.
about the words?
I just like how happy they are, how encouraging. You
Hmm.
got this,
And
you
just
know?
easy lyrics.
Yeah, they're easy, but it's a message that everyone needs to
Jump
hear.
in, refresh your aura. We don't need to follow decorum. You bought a brand new stereo. We can hear a song on the radio. Yo,
Yep.
I know because he just typed it out.
Yeah.
It's in front of me.
Singing You Got This, You
I'm
Can
proud of
Win.
you.
You got this, you got a friend. You got this. You can win. You got this. You can
You,
do it.
I'm so proud of you, who you are, and what you do. And now success is here for me and you.
Yeah.
Just hold on while I sing the song, and we'll get there. Yep. So the story is we were in Hawaii in 2022, and we brought the first ever Kansas City barbecue sanctioned um,
Ribs competition.
competition
That was so fun
to Hawaii.
and hard. That was like
Mm,
the hardest I've worked.
That was a
Oh
that
my
was a
gosh.
very hard project.
Oh yeah.
We worked on that for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But can I tell the KCBS story? So
Yeah.
if you're in competition, world with barbecue, KCBS is the largest, most prestigious body of sanctioning, of contests, of judge certifications, and also clearinghouse of information on barbecue in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have had sanctioned events in 49 states, never Hawaii, for decades. And then also something like 25 or 30 countries. And there are reasons why they didn't get it to Hawaii, but we brought the first ever. And so Hawaii had never had KCBS sanctioned,
Yeah.
so it was first for Hawaii. But it was also first for KCBS because it was the first time they had all
Right.
50 in the bag.
Yeah.
We were at the helm of organizing it. It was a 2-day festival, big barbecue thing. And yeah, we needed a festival with a lot of different parts. One of them being,
Music.
mhm,
We needed music. We needed bands to play, and basically we had nothing to pay them, and we were
starving
calling.
artists.
Yeah, we were calling and saying, "Hey, you want to play for like an hour
Get
and a
some
half
audience
for
time.
free?"
Hmm.
And they were one of the bands that said yes.
Yeah.
Actually, there were a lot of cool people that said yes. Um,
We had some
I was
great
pretty impressed with
music.
what we ended up having that first year.
Kaleo Miyamoto and his crew, the
Yeah,
oceanographers
the
came in.
oceanographers, yep. And they played for us, and they had a very funky vibe about them.
Hmm. Dreamy Island,
Yeah, and
Big
just
Pike.
um, I don't know, they were really brought some happiness and joy and
Their flautist was she had an electric flute.
yeah, I'd
They had a
never
guy
seen
doing
that
hip hop,
before.
and they were just weird and
Mm-hmm.
upbeat. Their spirit was just awesome.
Yeah.
And I think they stuck around too, and they cheered on some of the other bands because they knew that they were starving artists too. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, "You're awesome,"
Yeah.
you know. We'll all be here next year, right?
Yeah. And they shared some things and they were really good. Uh,
Yeah.
some heartfelt stuff, so that was really cool.
And
Yeah.
that was the spirit behind the whole event. Was you can do this, go for it. There were non-professional barbecuers in Hawaii who had never entered into competition before.
Mm-hmm.
So scary thing. there were folks on the mainland who were pro teams, but how do we get our stuff there? You know,
Yeah.
guy from Australia had hardly anything, and everyone was lifting each other, like taking each other's back,
Mm-hmm.
and they were telling each other that the pros were telling the local guys, "Your food is going to win.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got this, and you can win.
Yeah.
You got this. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
your friend." I just messed up the lyrics, but
It's okay. Yeah. But it definitely was kind of a theme song.
yeah.
And it's good for what we're doing with this podcast too. So
So I
it
contacted
fits
Kaleo,
well.
and he's like, "Totally, dude. Use this thing. I'm listening to podcast number 2 of your thing.
Hmm.
Go for it."
Yeah.
So we got the permission. We'll do more. We should do go into more depth on the song, and then those oceanographers, or his the their story, sometime else.
Yeah.
More podcast updates.
Yeah. Well, last week or last time we did the podcast, we did it with microphones and I sounded better. At least we feel like it sounded better.
And I
So,
think we said that we were sounding better because we were using microphones, but
mhm.
we weren't really hearing the recording.
Right. Yeah.
But now we can tell you we heard the recording and it was better, at least than so.
Right.
We know how to make it a lot better by having real sound, but now we got to have somebody who knows really how to listen for stuff to come in so it can be tweaked further.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Yeah. I also feel like we need something because it is still a little echoey. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Even when I talk in the microphone, I kind of hear an echo, but at least our voices are amplified more into the microphone and onto the recording. So I think that helps a lot.
We're in our basement,
Hmm.
which is underneath a garage,
Yeah.
which means there's a lot of steel holding up a garage. And the ceiling is metal. There's these big steel beams, and there's some hard, mean,
So your
old
block
concrete
cement
walls.
walls, yeah.
So yeah, there's probably some soundproofing that.
Yeah, we need to add that. Um, yeah, but I think that's it.
We've got 3 or 4 more listens. So
Yeah, like 90, up
oh,
to 90 listens, which is fun,
all right.
exciting. But I think that's it.
It's the same 5 people listening to them over and over, and
It's
and
my mom and your mom.
and there's somebody. there's,
Thanks, mom.
thanks, mom. This episode is dedicated
It's
to moms
dedicated to our moms. Thank you
in
for
Norway
making
and
our
Norway.
podcast successful.
The reading says,
Because our kids won't listen.
"What about Norway?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah.
Hi, Norway."
We have 1% of our listeners are in Norway, which is exciting. So, whoever you are, thank
That's
you,
like nine
Norway.
tenths of a person
Yeah.
out of 90, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
This is always going to be about Norway, isn't it? We're going to
Maybe
have an ongoing story about Norway.
about Norway.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So after the United States of America, Norway is winning.
Yep. Norway's winning.
Not, you would say not,
Love it.
no, t-shirt.
Mm.
Norway's winning.
Norway, 1%.
Norway. Did you mean to say no way? It's Norway.
Norway, the country. Yep.
Tonight we're going to put the first people on air with us on air.
Yes.
Listen to me. I think we're on air. No one's listening
Okay, Kevin.
except for your moms
Right.
in Norway.
Our mom's in Norway. Love it.
Thanks, moms. Thanks, Norway.
Yep.
So the kids are going to gather around. We're going to do an extra podcast, and
Yes.
we're going to call it Coco. I think.
Coco.
Or
It's a bonus episode.
is it
They
a
call
bonus, or is it just normal?
I
You
mean
mean we're gonna do another one today? Is that what you
don't
mean?
well, yes, I guess. I don't know. I think when you do extra episodes on a podcast, you call them
No,
bonus.
they're all bonus.
So somehow it's gonna
On
be a
today's bonus
bonus
episode,
episode. Yeah.
we're gonna work that into the intro. Hi, folks. Welcome to a bonus.
This is a bonus episode.
Let's just go.
But in all seriousness, we're
We lost our dog.
yeah, we lost our dog Coco.
Coco.
very sad. Was that on Saturday?
Mm, something like that.
Yeah, it was a very sad, sad day.
Yeah,
Hard week.
that was hard, harder than we thought.
Oh.
Um, so, and we've got two kids who are in college
Mhm.
who are here this summer. And so we've got more than usual around the house. We thought before that ends, let's do a podcast and we'll share some stories about Coco and what a dog means to a family.
Yeah,
More than just a dog,
yeah.
right?
She was such a good girl. Oh, okay.
So
Let's
that's,
go
but,
to
but,
something else.
but
I'm gonna
what's
cry.
new about that is that there were going to be our first guests
Right.
besides you and me.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll have extra people talking.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Our
that's it.
topic.
That's for the updates.
Okay, our topic is the early shapes of Hawaii ministry. So last episode we did first year in Hawaii and
Hmm.
kind of hit the ground. We called it a fire hose of both work and life.
Right.
Both of those together,
Yep.
fire hose to the face. Um, the mission was totally teed up, so it was like go,
Yeah.
and life was totally different with demands and urgencies, and it was you know totally go.
Yeah. It was like hit the ground running as soon as you got there.
Um, and so, but what we stayed away from um, was the environmental aspects of the mission and what we were there for, and those who were involved that kind of produced then, that was the context that produced shapes of what our ministry work was going to end up looking like for the next, decade and a half or
Hmm.
so. I guess not quite another half decade, but um, that's what we're going to go through today.
Right.
And one of the formats, or the format that we discussed, is here's our topic. You go away, write five things down to get to. I'll write five things down.
Hmm.
And we came together on them, and they were both very different. They weren't different as in
Yeah.
the topics were different. They were just a different way of thinking about
You
it.
and I were coming from it in our thinking from
Mhm.
different approaches, like different ways. Yeah.
I wrote down the actual shapes. Here are the shapes.
Hmm.
And you wrote down the story of shaping.
Yeah.
And looking at, so we have a dry erase board written down with her list and my list. And
Also, I have six instead of five.
I was going to
That was a
tell
little
you
extra.
that
Oh, were you?
it's five-ish anyhow.
Five-ish, yeah.
So that's exactly five-ish.
Well, that's true. That is five-ish.
Yeah.
But, it's a little bit extra.
And
Yeah.
then, but I think looking at them, yours makes more sense to go through.
Hmm.
I think it should be the guide to lead us, stages of, maybe what we were thinking in shaping the ministry, the mission work that we did.
Yeah.
Meaning that not all ministry mission is supposed to just be a set of the same things, only you do it here by these people or over here by these people.
Yeah.
Like, what is your goal? You're really trying to do something. You really have a vision in your mind of what it ought to be like. And if you're awake to that at all, which I think maybe half such programs are not,
Right.
um, then there's going to be a shaping
Hmm.
and you're going to develop
Yeah. It's
intend to do.
definitely a different approach than just kind of an organic, like just see what falls in your lap kind of a thing.
Just do things.
Yeah, just do things, see what sticks, what doesn't. I mean, there was kind of an intentional thought process and way um, that we thought ministry, or even till to this day, think ministry should be done. And I think that's what was really cool about Hawaii is it was kind of a place for us to implement um, some of
Oh,
our
yes.
thinking ways.
Well, and that's something we like to do. We like to have ideas and
Mhm.
then experiment and implement them.
Right.
And I've always thought of us as kind of like mad scientists,
Yeah.
and we're building Frankenstein.
Mhm.
Wait, Frankenstein's the one that you're building, right? Or is that the mad scientist?
Dr. Frankenstein.
Okay, Frankenstein. So we're Frankenstein
Frankenstein's monster is
monster.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you have, a lot of people have a chance to imagine things and architect something out,
Hmm.
an idea,
Yeah.
but to also have like a realm in which you can put it into implementation, you can form it and utilize thousands of people to do it.
Yeah.
That was what this all ended up being. We
Hmm.
we designed and shaped things, and then we got to try them out.
Right.
And the nature of the military's transient communities was it's like a dryer. What are those things that you shake?
Etch a sketch.
Etch a sketch,
That's true.
right?
You
You
if
could
if
be like,
something really
let's
didn't
do
work, you
that.
just wait
All right.
a year and then you can try something
Yeah.
new and
Except you can't really wait a year.
well, yeah, you
Just
can't really.
you can, but you can re-etch a sketch it.
Right.
Yeah.
Re-etch a sketch.
And if it and the stuff that does, you just redraw it real quickly and do it again.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's a good way of thinking of
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I think that that is important too. I think it's a important aspect of who we are and the way that we do things as well. I mean, you know, I think you're really good at having a vision and casting a vision of something, but there always is a path that you think you're going to go on, and it ends up curving and going up hills and down hills and all of that. And yet, I still feel like in all of that, when you look back on it, you see like the framework that God set up, and you can see, where He was in each one of those things
it.
that happened.
And it's humbling because there's so much that we've done or or started to work on, and it was like, nope, that's not it.
Hmm.
Nope, that's not it. And um, I think that looks like a failure to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, uh, it's just a matter of time. I mean, if you're wanting to do something, if you really have a picture in your head, a mood and a feeling of what you're, what you want to end up being in,
Mhm.
and the people around you, what you want them to end up being in, then you're going to fight for it.
Yeah.
And um, after two or three rounds, people give up on themselves, or they think that, okay, that I have my two or three strikes, you're out. Um, but we've done a lot of humble learning, but the recon and the retrying over and over again has produced seasons, years of incredible, fruit.
Yeah.
It makes me think of the first thing you wrote down. Number one,
Yeah.
you wrote down a commitment to lay a good foundation.
Hmm.
Do you know what you do you know what you meant by that?
Well, I think what I mean is that we were dedicated to doing something that was going to last,
Yeah.
not be something that was going to be gone the next year or in a couple years.
Hmm.
But I, we really wanted to, I mean, we committed to moving to Hawaii and being there forever.
Hmm.
And I feel like the ministry aspect itself is we were there to bring that for as long as we were
Hmm.
able to do it. And so we brought all of our skills and know-how, um, also a lot of openness to learning and going into a new environment, but also, having ideas about what was going to make it
Hmm.
be there and last.
Yeah, and there were things that we picked up from um, a decade of ministry before that, or
Right.
almost a decade
Hmm.
of ministry before that, both in Leavenworth and also in Dallas, Texas. Um, and one of those was, building community
Hmm.
with people. One of those was training and multiplying other people.
Yeah.
And
That's actually, even though our focus was youth ministry, one of my favorite aspects was the development of the people who worked with us, who volunteered for what,
mhm,
for what we did and like, and making a community out of those people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in many ways, like, I wouldn't, I feel like at that point in time, I wouldn't call myself a youth pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that that's how I started off in Texas. And then halfway through 7 years in
Right. It
Leavenworth,
turned into something
I
different.
stopped being a youth pastor and I
Yeah.
started being an adult ministry leader. And some of it was out of necessity. Our adult leaders were really invested in, and then they were like, "What about us?"
Mm-hmm.
And then there was training that we really got into, and then that our work was with them,
Yeah.
and we were still involved with what they were doing. Eventually, in Hawaii, we would even phase out of even working with youth.
Mm-hmm.
It was single soldiers and you know adult lady leader development and stuff. But yeah, that whole leadership development was something that we learned before we got there, and we wanted to bring that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think an integration of life and your walk with God or your faith.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a big one. Uh, but you said we were committed to being there for our life.
Yeah.
At one time, I think we had, like, we asked each other, though, okay, but we don't know. And what do you think the earliest is that we'll ever skip out? A skip out, but move on. And I think I told you I'm in this for at least, at the most minimum, I'm in this for at least 5 years.
Hmm.
Do you remember what you said?
30.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Oh,
said I'm here
okay.
for 30 years.
All right.
I had to make it long. Like, you
You had
know,
to.
I had to. That when we first moved there, I remember telling you that I am not going to go back to the mainland until we have been there for at least 3 years.
Mhm.
Because
Like even visit,
even visit,
right?
because I knew that I had to train my mind and my feelings to
Mhm.
be committed to being in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That first year was just getting used to Hawaii and everything. I was like, whoa, whoa. And it was a lot of like learning new things and actually being in a place that felt really far away from family and kind of adjusting my mindset and all that to that. And I knew that if I went back home, that that would
Mhm.
tug on my heartstrings,
And you didn't.
and I
I
didn't.
visited several times
Yep.
to the mainland for different reasons,
Mhm.
and you refused to go.
Yep.
You stayed in Hawaii.
Yep. Until 3 years. And then we went on a whole family vacation back home. But yes, I stuck to that commitment. And I'm glad I did because I think that was a little bit, that was wise,
Hmm.
wise of me to do that.
Well, when I look at this first point of yours, I think um, that what we knew we were doing had to be foundational. Like
Yes.
it's not just, oh, you need a good foundation for everything you do. No, 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 no. We have a big goal here,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to be here for a long time, and we've got, it's very sophisticated, and there's a lot of firstness to it.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a foundation. There's not another foundation, and so one
Right.
has to be laid. And so what goes into laying that foundation?
Yeah. To me, like the foundation was not just about ministry, um, you know, building that aspect, but it was like, what are we hooking our family, our being into
Mhm.
that is gonna sustain us, here. And you want to do good work, you want to create something that's excellent and that's good, but you also, there are different aspects of that too. I mean, I wanted to, you know, find a home, you know, get established. I mean, to me, that's all part of like laying a good foundation. You have this solid thing that you're working from and building on top of,
Yeah.
and those were
You
that was
mentioned,
important.
so, laying the home, place mentioned laying the home foundation, um, and some of that we talked about last time. Are there some other details to laying a foundation that you kind of wrote down or took note of?
Yeah. Um, there's some of like the things that we kind of ran into in ministry, like ministry wise. The one under that I have is firing the band.
Oh, one of the communities had they had a youth group, and it was being asked for that to kind of be rolled into what we were doing. And hey, um, you guys be in charge of this too.
Mhm.
and and we went in, we uh, saw, okay, what's this group like? It's a small group of students getting together, and the leaders were there. The adult leaders were there. I think more just chaperones, make sure everything worked out.
Yeah,
But the culture, the environment was really
right. That's more what I was.
childish,
Yes.
and we're not just about you know doing fun things. But they were a group of guys, and I think one or two girls, and they were mean
Hmm.
to everybody.
Right.
And so, but they were the cool kids,
Hmm.
and they didn't have to listen during a talk or play in the games, or
They're too cool for that.
yeah, and they let everyone know it by explaining it. And I just thought it was weird. I was like, what is this anyhow? This is like anti-Christianity, right? and and so I talked to them about, hey, maybe we ought to make sense of this with the other things that we're doing, like welcoming people, and everybody
Hmm.
get along, sharing your name, and serving, and maybe uh, just integrating all those parts. And I remember there's some pushback, and they're like, well, we just do our own thing, and we come and go when we want. And I'm like, okay, this isn't, I'm not in charge of this then. I'm not here. I haven't come here to,
Right.
you know, be a babysitter to stupid stuff. And um, and I kind of worked with them for a while. And then I realized what we needed to do was we needed to just fire the band.
Yeah.
And it was the only thing that the youth group was,
Hmm.
practically. And so you kind of fired it.
Hmm.
And then they were like, well, we're not coming back. And half of them didn't. And, they told everybody else not to go and stuff like too. And I mean, to me, it was just like starting from scratch.
Hmm.
I mean, here you have this. This is what you are now. Okay, let's fire it.
Yeah.
So we fired it, and
It actually reminds me of another story way back when you first got to Leavenworth
did the
and
same
you
thing.
threw the couches out
That's right.
because all the kids would
There was this,
lounge on the
yeah, there was
couches.
this youth group thing that, yeah, we were, hey, you're in charge of this one too. And it was a nasty culture of
Hmm.
uh, mostly guys, and then one or two girls. And they were the cool ones, and they were terrible. I mean, they're just terrible human. I don't mean terrible Christians, just terrible to people. And they're like leaders of a program that's supposed to be about faith and honoring one another. And I remember going uh, into the room, just when it was empty, and looking around and being like, what is it,
Hmm.
about this culture,
Right.
this environment, and it wasn't the kid, it's that the adults, that the leaders in this area are allowing to exist. And I saw all those couches. I
Hmm.
was like, what are these couches here for? And then we asked around, and they're like, those are all the parents gave those couches to those cool kids, and
To
it's
the
kind of
to
there.
the youth group, yeah.
So it was empty.
Right. Which is, I think that's a really important aspect is that there is in any group a culture, and you've got
Yeah.
to identify it, whether it's negative or positive. I
Mhm.
think it's important. And
to know what to throw out.
to know what to throw
Throw
out.
out the couches and
And it's
fire the
okay,
band.
right? It's okay. It's okay to do that. And it'll
Part of laying a
cause maybe
foundation.
some ruffled feathers or whatever, but I mean, you gotta,
In both cases, it changed
yeah.
everything.
It,
It was like we got phone calls and like, where are all the couches? They're in the dumpsters.
hmm
Will you be paying us back for those couches? You
hmm
know, this was, given by me, you're ruining everything.
Really?
Oh my
I
gosh, you
don't think
don't
I knew that.
remember being contacted?
Well, I remember there being kind of
Oh, they were
an
mad.
outrage
Yeah,
about it,
parents were mad.
upset about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good memory.
Yeah, that is a good memory. But the culture is important. You
Yeah.
want to have a good foundational culture because if you
Yeah.
build something on something that's toxic, then it will always be toxic.
There's way to call something Christian ministry or even Christianity, and it's everything the opposite of it.
Right.
I mean, it's got pastors, it's got workers, it's got Bible curriculum, it's got all of the features, and it's nasty.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
people don't, I think, well, a lot of people do get that.
Right. Well,
That's why
they've
that's why they ain't
experienced
going
it,
anymore.
but you don't want to be a part of something that is quote unquote Christian and be like, this is
We want
nasty.
light,
Yeah.
right? And
But you can
life
feel it. Yeah.
and honor.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people want that. And that's part of Lena. Hey, I'm going to slip in here because you said part of the good foundation, laying a good foundation, I think goes with what
Yeah.
my first one was, is that we were really this ragtag conglomerate of different parties. And so laying a good foundation wasn't about simplifying it and putting everything, you know, now everything makes sense.
hmm
There was a whole conglomerate of different groups and
Yeah.
parties. And we mentioned
Are
that last podcast.
attached to lots of different
Mhm.
things and
Yeah.
groups. Yeah.
I mean, first of all, we're on a base,
Right.
and the military constrains everything and restrains everything that's spiritually connected through what's called a religious support office, or the RSO.
hmm
And so you've got directors of religious education of
Right.
different denominations, of different locations, involved. Um, we always called what we did the mission house.
Right.
You know, um, that was kind of our family, the
hmm
mission house,
Yep.
and that's what we saw as headquarters too. Was our house.
Our house was a hangout
It was a
place
hangout and a place of
for people to
training.
meet each other, training,
Yeah.
doing a lot of ministry stuff because we didn't necessarily have an office
Mhm.
space or anything,
Or we
especially
had
at the
five. Or we
beginning.
had five offices.
Right. Which some of them were
Different stuff.
Starbucks with a computer, but
Or different bases.
right, different bases.
Yeah.
But not like anything that was where you went to work and
Yeah.
were for long periods of time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I saw over everything was the mission. It was
hmm
it was you and I putting together the pre-launch groups, the financing, the different organizations.
Yeah.
But even there, it was the mission house. But then there was the RSO.
hmm
Um, the Catholic community was its own thing, and it was connected to, at least relationally, to the Diocese of Hawaii, which
hmm
is not military.
Right.
So the rest of the island. Um, and so we had our group. I think more locally, our group was called Father Damien Youth Group.
Mhm.
That was the youth program on base, at least. And then we were in partnership with Club Beyond,
Right.
which has other military locations where they're connected.
Mhm.
And then obviously, a lot of our financial supporters individually were Youth for Christ.
Right. That was kind of our sending agency, right?
That's where most of the households would send money if they
Right.
weren't sending it to the Hawaii chapter,
Mhm.
or to, um, or we would get it from the military. Um,
They sent out our newsletters and all of that kind of, so our administrative stuff that was
Right.
all done through them.
Yeah.
Finance stuff, yeah.
The local campus were Campus Life.
Mhm. The Youth for Christ Hawaii,
And eventually they were called Spartan Talk and Mule Talk after
right?
the individual campuses. So all these different names and all these different interested parties, and we were over all of that, trying to make um, one cooperative program of all those things to
Hmm.
integrate them. And that was a big part of laying the foundation
Right.
is this has got to be multi-dimensional, multifaceted, multi-partnered.
Yeah, and it is kind of interesting. They each did do something different in relation to us.
Mhm.
Um, like Youth for Christ Hawaii, who did help run the
Mhm.
the campus lives. Um, they did pay for our insurance at the beginning, which was really huge
Mhm.
and awesome. So yeah, yeah, all those different things.
Getting used to the new normal
Right,
was your second one.
right.
Number two, getting used to the new normal. What do you mean?
Well, I think well, one is what you just talked about is getting used to being a part of all of these entities and figuring out how to shape things, um, in connecting to all those. But also, I think the new normal, especially from my standpoint, is that you were gone from like 5 a.m. until 7 p.m. at night. And so that was something that was new because in Kansas, you were gone a lot in the evenings, but you were around. You had an office in our house, so you were out and about. So it was just a new schedule,
Mhm.
a new way of doing things. Um, it was busy. Getting doctors in the schools, homeschooling figured out and all that kind of stuff on the home front. It was just, it seemed like, it was like what you said before, the fire hose of just life and work. And I think after getting into our new rental house and getting our stuff, when the pods delivered our stuff,
Mhm.
getting all that settled, I think we were all just ready to get, into the rhythm and routine. I just really like the routines of things. And, but it was way different than what it had been before. And even the 3 months we were in Hawaii, it was like a whole different phase. It was like the next phase of really becoming
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Yeah, of really learning to love it and just becoming what it
We
had.
weren't just thrown into it. Like, yeah, it was the nature of it was we were becoming,
Yeah.
you
I mean, we
know,
were thoroughly
that
enjoying it too, you know, as
whether
well.
we did or not, we were there to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
Hmm.
I think that's a lot of that is what we kind of covered in the previous, episode is
Yeah.
just, being thrown into all that. And
Yeah.
then
But then it started to get its own rhythm and groove. And that was
so
nice. It became,
mhm.
you know,
I feel like there was a great service that we were able to learn because of that, being thrown into it, that we applied then to ministry. And this is a way for me to shamelessly plug another one
yeah.
on mine. And it was that the island is the program.
Yes.
Um, because on the military bases, which is where most of our targets of ministry were, um, there was a protection against what was off the base. And one of the things about Hawaii is that people who are visiting there, especially the military, they either have very positive things to say about the island or they have negative things to say about the island. And a lot of times, if you hear about Hawaii from folks, they're gonna kind of wave their hand to give a broad stroke of this is what the people like, this is what the island is like, and it's not trust. You should second guess it. You
Hmm.
should. You should ask us. You should ask people who love it and who got out. Um, but there was a certain attitude and mood and mode of life, an MO, that people had if they were not engaging the islands. And us being thrown into it, one of the things we realized was the program is the island.
Yeah.
And where, when we lived on the mainland, in a couple of places doing ministry, we would have all this design and planning for elaborate trips with the transportation and going to a conference and renting skis and go down a ski slope or passports to get into another country for a mission. And what we ended up doing is realizing the incredible benefit it was to get people off the base.
Oh yeah.
And you didn't have to create the destination. It was already there in all of its glory.
Yeah.
It was the most pristine waves in the world. It was the best beaches. It was
Amazing
it
hikes.
was amazing hikes with breathtaking views. It was different cultures and different foods.
Mhm.
It was boats to take you deep sea fishing, with 100 people. It was going to a festival.
A luau.
It was going to a luau,
Mhm.
and it was like the program is get on buses and get kids and young adults and soldiers and families out of the installation
Right.
where they're stuck. And that became something that we were doing that youth centers weren't doing. A lot of, you know, uh, other groups just kind of didn't take advantage of it. It was like,
Mhm.
no, we're going to get up, we're going to get out of the installation because there's life everywhere.
Mhm.
But the island is the program. And
The
that
island
was a
is
new
the
normal
program.
of ministry.
Right.
And I think it was enlightening to everybody.
Mhm. Well, it also was, I feel like the island became the program also on the family front, because, and that goes into my number three, is that we had this first wave of guests that came, and it became
Hmm.
the program for us too, as far as helping us, I think, have guests right off the bat, helping us get out into the island to learn about the different beaches, the culture, all of that
Mhm.
kind of stuff too. So that was really cool, because I think that a lot of it became our program too, a program in which we just, you know, attached ourselves to and
Mhm.
became part of who we were.
There was a direct correlation. Sorry, I'm turning back to master.
Yeah.
There's a direct correlation with people's report of being happy with their 2 to 3 years of experience,
Mhm.
stationed at those bases, and them being out and engaging everything that the island was.
Yeah.
There was a direct proportional correlation.
Mhm.
Likewise, those who didn't, um, and they stayed where they were,
Mhm.
they had all sorts of bad things to say about it, but they also fell into depression, family turmoil, spirits down, didn't grow, atrophied. It was a negative time for them.
Well, and also when we first moved there was 2009. And so there was still the tempo of Schofield Barracks
Mm.
was just up because
Coming
of
back from war.
deployments. Yeah, going to Afghanistan, coming back
Mhm.
from Afghanistan. I think there were still deployments to Iraq at that time, and so it was actually it was interesting to see the transition from when we first moved there even to when we left, because when we got there, I think there was high family stress.
Mm-hmm.
There were outlets that were needed. I think the positive, creating positive peer groups for the
That
teenagers
was a
to be
big
a
one.
part of,
Hmm.
and then to take them out on adventures where they were going to be safe in a safe
Hmm.
environment. I think that was huge, because I think that, teens needed outlets, I think families needed
Mm.
that kind of an outlet. I think it was a really positive thing,
It was
kind of in the
exciting.
midst of that.
I remember calling, we spent so much money on buses,
Yeah.
and the buses had never, serviced because we did it through chapel monies,
Hmm.
and they had never gotten those reservations. And then the RSOs, didn't have programs where they had been, are we allowed to rent,
Hmm.
buses?
Yeah.
But the buses became this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, what do we do? We bus people out of here.
Hmm. I know. I mean, uh, buses would be full. There'd be two buses full of kids, and
Yeah.
they'd be heading off Schofield to go on an adventure.
And then when we had later installations involved, then we had buses coming from different
Right,
locations
different
or
locations.
carpools
Yeah,
if they didn't have as
carpools.
many.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun.
That really goes into another one that I put up here was the the whole MO of going to where people are.
Hmm.
People, um, they're in the skate parks and we went through that last time, but that was also getting people to get up and go somewhere, with each other.
Hmm.
Where are people? People are at where they're going to places with one another.
Yeah,
That's where people are.
yeah, it is. And I wore my shirt today
Oh
specifically.
yeah,
I mean, not that we're ever gonna show this like video, but I know
yeah.
thanks for videoing.
We need to put "Let's Just Go" logo T-shirts on the back, and then go to where people are in the front.
Hmm.
That's what I think we should do.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay, well, first wave of visitors. Who are you talking about?
Well, our very first visitor was your grandma, was Thula
Hmm.
May, and she came with Mary. And
And my mom.
no,
Was it just Mary
it
and
was
my mom?
just the two of
I
them.
mean, Mary and grandma.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they visited for like, I don't know,
My
I think
kid's
it was
great
over a
grandma.
week. Yep, our kid's great grandma. And I think she was like 86 or something
Oh,
at the time.
long way.
Oh, she was amazing.
Hmm.
Like she went everywhere. She may have been younger, but I think she was she was in her 80s for sure. And they flew over and we did beaching and we did the Dole plantation. We have some
Hmm.
great pictures of her with
The
the kids at the
Chinese.
Dole. We got Dole Whip. Um, we
They were
took her
champion.
to Haleiwa Beach Park, Ali'i
Hmm.
Beach, and watched the waves. And because I think they came like in October, so the waves were getting
Really
bigger.
big. Yeah.
And that was her. I think she's like the 1st of October. Your birthday is like the 13th.
Hmm.
Elijah's is
She told
the
us what the
5th.
birds were.
Yeah, yeah. And so that was, and she, you know, played games with the kids, and it was just a lot of fun. I really,
That was a good
I'm
visit.
glad. Yeah, that was a really great visit. Our great, the first visitors. That
My
was
Aunt Mary's
great.
always been a big courage maker
Yeah,
of like, yep, this is
very
cool
encouraging.
stuff you're doing. She asked some really great questions, especially I remember how are you using your leaders
Yeah,
and how are you managing all this stuff that's got to be done. And
yeah.
they've supported us in many ways. And my grandma Dutzman always told my mom and dad the truth about the stories of fights between my brother and sister when we were young. She's like, no, they deserved
They deserved it.
it.
So she stuck up for you.
Right. Catherine was supposed to pound them. No,
No.
they were fun to have come visit.
Yeah, that was fun. And then we had my parents that came
Yeah.
also. I think they flew all the way from Germany to
Oh
visit
my
us.
gosh, yeah.
They were
They
like
traveled, they
28
exact
hours
opposite
of
sides of the
traveling.
world.
And then we had the Schmidt tsunami.
Oh, right.
And in our house in
We
Makakilo,
called it that.
yes, we had all of your family basically
Mm-hmm.
with our family in a very, well, a smallish house.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went out and we just had a lot of fun with them.
Yeah.
Did shrimp trucks and
Yeah,
Haleiwa.
we were counting the size, dimensions of that house we were in, a Makakilo, the other day.
Mhm.
I'm wondering how did we get all of those humans into it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there was room, and most of the time we were traveling to go see things.
Right. We didn't spend a lot of time in the house. And when we did, it was very streamlined meals.
You know,
But we had
eating a lot of, yeah.
four couples, and all the couples had a bedroom because there was four bedrooms in that house. And then the kids just we set up bunk beds in the garage,
Hmm.
and the kids slept in the garage all together.
Yeah.
So,
Because that's what garages are for.
yeah, that's what garages are for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking through, why did that show up as one of the top five things, under the early shapes of first wave of visitors, but they um they helped us be Hawaii.
They helped
They
us be.
came, like they visited us as if we were Hawaii, and they validated our life there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think partially for support of what we were doing, but also because they wanted to see Hawaii and we were able to show that
Hmm.
to them. And I think actually that helped develop, along with how we talked about last time, the reception at the airport with the leis and the aloha when we'd have vet
Hmm.
visitors. It helped shape the way that we treated and received our visitors for the rest of our time living there, because we just realized that it was important, um, to make the island the program,
Hmm.
to show them the island, to show them the way of life that was different than the touristy part.
Hmm.
And we did touristy things, but just a home base, fun, enjoyment, and just love for it. And I think that it helped us develop that throughout our whole rest of the time there.
Yeah, good. Your next one, number four, as in the early shapes of Hawaii ministry, ecumenical
Reimagined.
reimagined.
Yeah.
Ecumenical reimagined.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
And I say this, I don't know necessarily that we reimagined it, but we helped people reimagine it. I just feel like you have such a really good concept of what ecumenism
Hmm.
is, you know, working with what was
Whoever.
whoever, and what was going on
It wasn't
already.
right, yeah. And then seeing who wanted to be a part of that and who was supposed to be a part of it,
Yeah.
the word, ecumenical pops in, and which refers to worldwide or different traditions working together. Oikumene, I believe, in the Greek,
Yeah.
referring to all the people, all the world. But what do you mean by ecumenical reimagined?
Well, I think the thought that, so being a military brat,
Hmm.
right? You're raised, always went to military chapels, for the most part growing up. Um, and they're just run differently because it is the location, like it is the religious center, the
Hmm.
chapel. So you have Protestants,
Of different
lots of
traditions.
Protestant denominations that go to the Protestant service. You have a Catholic service. You usually have a gospel service. Sometimes there's a
Which is usually,
liturgical service.
you know,
Yeah. Sometimes there's, other things like,
they're using the same
right, they're
facility,
using the same facility.
they're same meeting spaces, they got different hours,
Mhm.
and
But you use the same, a lot of times, because of proximity, there are things that are connected,
mm,
with them, like times, chapel, space. Are you gonna all do VBS together?
mm,
When is Sunday school? When does church start? What are, all of that kind of stuff. And so, there's this environment that is created of needing to work together, and sometimes it's not working together. Sometimes it is. Sometimes
And then
there's,
how to,
yeah, and then how to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we'd had a lot of experience in the past of different ministries trying to do ecumenical stuff, and even we had partnering organizations that we had really been a voice of, I think, formation to them about how to do, how to work ecumenically. Um, but there's different models
Well, right. And
of it,
yeah,
and usually we disagreed with the ones,
yeah.
you know,
Well, yeah, I feel like a lot of times it focuses on diminishing your existence so that you can get along instead of
you mean diminishing
enhancing
your
your
tradition, your
tradition,
beliefs,
your belief,
your
and
different, don't talk about
right,
them,
don't talk, we can't talk about this, we're not going to do
water down
this, we're not,
stuff.
right. You water it down instead of enhancing
Hmm.
those things
Right.
and focusing on like you're fully you, focusing on
Yeah.
the commonality. But I just, there's
Hmm.
a
Yeah.
whole thing with that.
Yeah. And we eventually, not early on, but we developed, from that trainings
Hmm.
on, we called it different things like true ecumenism or, um, diversity of traditions working together. But we developed trainings on how you work with our group was essentially made up. I think we said 1/3 of them are Catholics, 1/3 of them are Protestants, and 1/3 of them are completely non-churched.
Hmm.
They're nothing. They're uh, everybody wants to come along, be a part of a program, and going and doing things, whether it's faith related or not.
Right.
So Protestant, Catholic, and uh, non-Christian, and so we had these not obstacle, this challenge to have a program that included all of that
Hmm.
and yet didn't lose anything.
Right.
Um, our, I think from the beginning, we had kind of a main mantra of our philosophy of doing it, and it was Christ as center, and everyone gets to keep their integrity.
Right.
And so where a lot of other programs, okay, all of them that we ever saw that tried to do the same thing, they tried to find spaces where, they said, well, let's talk about a relationship with God, but not the religious aspects, the ceremony or the tradition. And that's the type of thing that someone would say if they don't know anything about people's different traditions. Because a lot of traditions, those two are inseparable. In other traditions, people don't realize that they have a tradition, they just don't know it.
Right.
But it's more obvious to everyone. Oh, I don't have a tradition.
Yeah.
Like, man, you have so much tradition, you have no idea.
Hmm.
Um, so instead of avoiding those things, to avoid fights, we ran everyone into the fight.
Hmm.
It was, we're gonna get together, and Christ is gonna be the center. I mean, who's gonna disagree with that?
Right.
Of things, and everyone gets to keep their integrity.
Hmm.
What are you? I'm a Catholic. Bring your Catholicness.
Right.
What are you? I'm a Protestant. Bring your Protestantness. What are you? I'm a non-Christian. Bring your non-Christianness. And there was education, and uh, there wasn't two or three people trying to figure out and tell everyone what to do.
Hmm.
It was a community, and it created light. And the best ideas, we know which are the best ideas, naturally rise to the top.
Right.
But yeah, it was that became this massive, massive shape
Yeah.
to the ministry we would do for years.
Everyone gets to keep their integrity. Everyone gets to keep their personness, which means that you don't have to make yourself smaller in order to
Mm.
have a seat at the, you know,
Hmm.
in sharing and all of that
We'll
good
work
stuff.
it out as we go.
Yeah, we'll work it out as we go. I know, I think that's one thing everyone wants to have things worked out immediately or prior to what's going to happen or whatever. And surely, I mean, we had trainings because this was something
Hmm.
new and there were questions that arose, but I think the big thing was is that, it is okay to work things out as you're progressing forward, as you're going forward.
That's one too.
That is how faith grows, it's how
Mhm.
community grows. You got to be able to work those things out.
And I think that was another mark against the kind of ecumenical programs we had seen. We were like, yeah, we're not that. Is
Right.
that a lot of the working together was at the level of just the hierarchy. It was of leaders.
Right.
It's
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah.
we're all working on a doctrinal statement to get on the same page, and then once we get that straight, then y'all can do something together. And this was the opposite.
Right.
Is I really learned through all of this that um, making new doctrine, and that's a heretical statement for a lot,
Mhm. Yeah.
of theologians. But making new doctrine is the best way to protect it. You need to be thinking about new knowledge and ways to do stuff. People need to be negotiating with one another
Mhm.
how to do life and the truth with integrity and the variances, in between all those things. That's
Yeah.
how we figure this thing out,
Mhm.
is by creating more of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Big piece.
Mhm.
So that was number 4 for you, but it was also one of mine. So we knocked that one out. And another one of mine is related to it.
Okay.
And that was as we started doing formative discipleship of Christian curriculum, like we had, let's just let's just get you out of the house and go to the island
Mhm.
and give you light so that you're not depressed, but instead you have life
Right.
and you
And
have
you have
peer
a group
groups,
of people that you can hang out
healthy peer
with
groups.
that is
Right.
healthy. Yeah.
And then there's also the formation of a faith community, the fellowship, the service projects, stuff like that. The fun, enjoyable meetings and stuff, but the trainings of leadership. But then what about Christian formation, like
Hmm.
uh, over curriculum?
Right.
And you saw that different traditions said different things
Yeah.
about different topics
Well, and
and different issues, or they weighted them different from one another, which
right.
which in alignment with Dante, the ordering of your loves and your priorities makes you have a different system.
Mhm.
And so Protestants were different than Catholics, were different than other Protestants, were different than good non-churchers.
Yeah. And I I think a topical study, one that is on, I don't know, like a character issue or
Relationships,
relation,
therapy,
yeah, those don't
justice,
teach. And well, they do, they use scripture. I mean, there are some good ones out there, but I think
reference them.
they reference them. But I
Yeah,
think one of the things that we saw is that no nobody knew what the Bible said,
right. No one,
or as
everyone who talked about it didn't know it.
right.
Yeah,
And
but said that they knew it,
right. And
but did it
and and there's just an illiteracy,
total.
especially, with, Christians, with
Mhm.
believers. There's just a total illiteracy of how you put the Bible together, how it was formed, um,
And they caught on
the
that we were literate.
different books. Yeah. How do you put this together? How does the New Testament go together? How
Right.
do the Gospels go together? How do these parts of the Old Testament go together? And that was like, no, people just don't know that. And it's like, they're smart enough, and this is a great environment. I mean, especially, um,
To
at the
learn it.
beginning with the teenagers, they were just,
I
I
don't
think,
think I don't think you said it yet though. So that was where we angled everything.
yeah.
We forget about the books, the formation books, all that stuff. We're going to open up Bible pages and we're not going to skip around either and do topics. We're going to just teach the literacy of scripture.
Right.
We're gonna equip people to be literate
Hmm.
in it. And we would go buy books. And a lot of this developed later.
Yeah. But I mean, you could see at the beginning, and I feel like you've said this too, but you could see the need for it was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was, in that aspect, there was something missing. There was a component to the ministry where, we had the going out on the island, we had the fun things that we did together, but then there was a component of the actual, you know, biblical literacy
Or your
that needed
faith
to happen.
curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so and like I said, it developed in a much more sophisticated manner later on. But even early on, our get-togethers were we're gonna just do Bible studies. And most Bible studies are not actual Bible studies. They're topical or you're reading a book that tells you or
Commentary.
commentary,
Yeah,
but
on how to think about
it
something.
was the design was to learn, and that was able to cross all those traditions
Right.
because the Catholics have the same New Testament that the Protestants have,
Hmm.
and they have the same New Testament that the non-Christians have,
Right.
right?
It's the
Because
same.
they got them too,
Right.
and all of the Protestant Old Testament books the Catholics have too. Yeah, the Catholics have even more.
That's right. Oh, I forgot about
And
that. The
even more,
Catholics
you
have
know,
even more.
and it became, what are you learning? Well, what are you teaching about it? No, what's the topic? And like, we're reading it and we're discussing it. Well, what if somebody says something, they give a false interpretation of it? Well, like, great, then they got their voice heard. And then the next person does too. And so there was this, we even came to a point where we read the Deuterocanonicals, the
Hmm.
ones that the Protestants don't have. And
Hmm.
that's a whole story in and of itself.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, but it was educational, and
Right.
it's like, I mean, go home and ask your mom and dad what it means.
Mhm.
But we're in a circle right now. We're learning, but that became a major feature that turned into much
Oh, yeah.
more into a whole new hermeneutical approach to scripture later years.
Mhm.
But even early on, it was like finding the things of Christian faith that you could do together. The ones what are the things and how do you do them that you can do together?
Yeah.
And that was a major piece. Okay, that should be there's so much to expound on that. We can do some on CAS.
Yeah.
Ministry and bureaucracy you wrote down as number 5.
Yeah.
That's another shaping era of what do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like well, I have number 5 and number 6, and I feel like they're kind of connected together. But ministry and bureaucracy is that, you have to be realistic that especially when you do ministry uh, in a military environment, in a chapel environment,
Mhm.
that you're going to run into bureaucracy. And I think part of,
By bureaucracy, do you mean systems and processes and um, offices of bosses and administration that slow everything down, or that also help things be? I mean, do you mean it on the negative or
well,
neutral?
I mean it in a neutral, I think, because it is a system that is created that has all of these
Process
supposedly
stability,
checks and balances, process, whatever,
but
and
yeah.
it can completely stop ministry. I mean, it can slow it down, it can be a hindrance, but you also have the aspect of it in a process that helps you have to develop in a way that works within, you know, its system.
Mhm.
And I guess it leads to my number 6 is that, in that environment, you find out who your friends are
Hmm.
and who will help you within the bureaucracy, and you find out who your enemies are who will use
Interesting.
the bureaucracy to slow
So
down
let's, I
what
think
you
we should change that from 5 and 6 to just 5. What
want.
about
Okay.
minute, amidst in ministry and bureaucracy, friends and enemies emerge.
Yes, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And when you had first come up with those, I didn't see that, but you're making a point right now that I had never thought of, is that ministry and bureaucracy actually create an illuminating environment for friends and enemies
Yes.
to emerge.
Yes. Yeah.
It provides all the strings
Right.
for people to pull. Okay.
Yes.
All
It,
right.
it provides all the strings for them to pull,
Mm-hmm.
um, which can be a negative thing. It can also be a positive thing, you know? I mean, a lot of it is like who you befriend, who you know, but also, you know, it's just it's just a fact that that's the environment that you are doing things in, and it can be frustrating. Um, but it's not neg totally completely negative. It's not a negative. It's just the environment that you're in, just like any other environment. But it is different
Mm-hmm. I
than
think,
a normal
yeah,
ministry church experience, I
yeah,
think.
there's so many
It's unique.
different, going back to the very first point, there was a whole conglomerate of different parties
Mm-hmm.
that we were at the helm of leading to have an overall program that touched all those different aspects of life, all those different kinds of people, and did all
Mm-hmm.
those different things. Um, and they all had their own system and their own level of what is important, and their own fears and protections and processes or lack of processes.
Right.
You know, so yeah, a lot of friends and enemies emerged during that time. I think one of the things that we both, because we talked so much about it, have learned about. Um, I think your work
Mm-hmm.
is that um, if you're not working, then you're getting in trouble. And if you're not advancing and making new things, then you're getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not empowering other people and doing something, then you're getting in trouble. We saw so many people get into trouble, bad trouble, um, just all around us, and uh, people that would set themselves up as enemies out of jealousy or power or whatever. Um, they would use the bureaucracy or the processes, you know, not to create something.
Yeah.
And some people were just, a lot of people are in ministry and they're there to do all the things that will keep them out of trouble. Like they're afraid of getting into trouble. And so that all their time is spent staying out of trouble. And those people get in trouble. They do. They
Okay.
do bad things.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, at the core of it, they're not trying. What are they there for? They're
Right.
not there for any reason.
Yeah.
They're not ministering. They're not serving. They don't care about
Oh my gosh.
people. They care about whatever their guilty
Yeah.
conscience keeps reminding them of. And eventually, there's no power, and they do the thing that they're dreading. And um, the reason I'm kind of zeroing in on that is I think that what we what we did counter to that was we developed other people and we made multiplying type of things. We were always about recruiting folks, to do, you know, the too much work that was at hand. We trained them. We started looking for interns and, staff and multiplying.
Mhm.
And that's where, that's also an environment where you see where your friends and your enemies are.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
It reminds me of unrequested initiative. I
hmm
think something that the bureaucracy hates is the wrong kind of initiative. You know, I feel like there were some, I guess what I'm thinking of is that we're pretty uh good at coming up with ideas and ways to do things and also bringing people
hmm
along with us to do it. But if there is a no or a block, then it's like, ooh, how do we go around this? Or how can we do it differently to get, I mean,
create
the,
the yes.
yes, how do we create the yes? That's a really good way to put it, is that we're pretty, I feel like, persistent and tenacious in the things too. And I mean, I feel like you have to be that way in order to not get super discouraged sometimes in
Mhm.
hearing no's in the things that you want to do.
Yeah. I think that's actually a really important thing is moving forward. You have
Yeah.
to move forward. You got to create something. You have to have a vision, which means you're listening to God. You're
Mhm.
involving other people. You're building stuff.
Mhm.
You if you want something to grow and to live and to be good, then you have to do those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you see that with getting us there to Hawaii,
hmm
because there was a component that was a yes to embracing us and being there, and in part of the government bureaucracy, I mean, there was a contract, there was all that kind of stuff, but there was also kind of the skepticism as well. And you have to be willing to keep moving forward when you're even being challenged in
hmm
in certain things. So yeah.
Hmm. Anything else that we kind of missed on here?
um
Reviewing it, I mean, like I felt myself withholding lots of details
mhm.
as we were talking through this,
Yeah.
because I feel like every one of these is a whole discussion, whether it's a podcast that we do or it's a bonus,
Right.
podcast on the side to go into more detail. How do you do this? How do you do this?
Hmm.
Because there's, like we said, there's whole trainings on each one of them.
Right.
I want to review the
Okay.
shapes real quick. On my side, the conglomerate operation of
Hmm.
all these different parties, with us calling, and this is an extra point, is, we called ourselves kind of the mission house at the helm of it. And eventually all this would come under one umbrella, one organizational
Yeah.
umbrella. And that was Pacific House of Mission, which technically we did not incorporate until 2012.
Right.
Um, uh, but that was a big challenge, is putting all those so multiple partnerships,
Hmm.
the saturating of the community spaces and going to where people are. That was a major shape of our ministry that developed. The ecumenicalism reimagined, doing it, crisis center, everyone keeps their
Hmm.
integrity.
Right.
Let's make it messy. Let's go.
Hmm.
Um, the fourth one is the development of laity leaders and other people, and growing, multiplying, moving forward. That's the antidote for toxic bureaucracy in ministry.
Yes.
Bureaucracy then has a good reason, and it's to help bind those things in an organized fashion.
Hmm.
And then the fifth one was the island is the program, is recognizing what God placed as life all around us, that was being untapped by people. Get on buses and take them to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um,
Yeah.
those are five cool early shapes of ministry
Yeah.
that we learned. And Casey, this was the baby. This was that young baby of ours. The in the Frankenstein laboratory that
I
turned
know.
it. This was the baby monster
I know.
that
You look at
we
over
began
that.
sending out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You just like, wow.
Well, that was kind of fun to
We
talk through.
actually, we actually, we did some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Very cool.
And I think just the last, you know, there was a phrase that we came up with our philosophy, and that was community building
Ministry.
ministry.
Right.
And if you look back on our stuff and posts and letters and all that for
Mm-hmm.
years and years, community building ministry.
Right.
How do you build a whole community while you're doing ministry? What is it? What are the shapes it requires?
Mhm.
That was a big thing.
I mean, really, it's like a cornerstone. If you're if you're not building community, are you really in ministry? Really,
Hmm.
you know?
Interesting. Did you just say if you are not building community, are you really doing ministry or are you really in
No,
ministry?
this is what I said. I said,
Okay. Well, tell me
if
what it
you're
is you
not
said.
building community, then are you really in ministry? Right?
That's good, baby.
Yeah.
Well, did we
I
finish?
think we did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our next podcast, I think, is Coco,
Yes,
right?
Coco.
Yeah. So I've got this song here. We
And
got to
it's
figure
called a bonus episode.
it. I guess so. The song, You Got This. It's just on my phone. I played it into the microphone from. We got to figure out how to plug this in, or
Yeah.
we got to have some be more suave about this.
We don't
But
have to figure that out. I already know how to do it.
right.
But yes.
Well, did you listen to this podcast? If so, let's interact. We think you ought to press like or follow or share with your friends or leave comments. We are learning this as we go and from scratch, so help us figure it out a bit and give it a boost. More to come. We'll catch you next time.
Peace. Bye.